What a beautiful morning. What a glorious morning, everyone. This is Jordan with Conquer Trading Investing. It's Taco Tuesday. We're about to set it off over here. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. It is so good that you're here. It is so important that you are here, riding the bull of all bulls, staying laser focused like nowhere else. It's crucially important to do there's so much noise out there. There is so much noise out there in this world. To be able to just put on those horse blinders and stay focused and achieve legendary things, it takes fortitude. It takes patience. It takes awareness. It takes discipline. It takes constant attention. It is the most difficult thing there, and we do it. And we do it well together. That's why when that music plays in the morning and everyone comes in, what an important moment it is in the day. As we see, Greg says 97, approximately 97 shows left to the peak and the exit of Bitcoin. We changed the thumbnail now to exit series from the hodl. So do you see on the pullback, even subliminal little signs on the YouTube thumbnails? Hodl series. How often do you talk this one? Me talking about hodling. Just making sure I keep you all, on the right side of the most important trade that matters. We're looking at Bitcoin trading at $55,000 this morning here, but we set off the last repair over here. You could see us setting that up last night on Twitter, showing you the cheat sheet over here as we came into that resistance. Now look at over here what happened. We've broken above on the 8-hour, dropped down to the 2-hour, right? What's going on? Big shout out to you, the spaghetti. Squaghetti. Look over here on the 2-hour. You can see it playing out over here. The resistance price came into the resistance, never taking out the swing low, right? And then burst through. And now what? What happens next? We've had the last structural repair. This thing looks good. It looks like a what? Well, Jordan, that really looks like a V. That really looks sharp. Interesting stuff. It's time for us to begin. By the way, we could have a retest of this broken trend line over here. Unquestionably, we're expecting that. Where price peaks out over here on this little upward impulse, we do not know. We would not be surprised to have a test of this trend line over here. This one that we've just broken out, confirming that into resistance, resuming off, safe entry, good entry on this recovery. One of the highest probability entries will be after the daily time frame does make that first red bar, making the lower low. And then on the reversal out of it, that's going to be a really safe time to get into this. I know that each and every one of you are already fully positioned. I know you've been following what we've been doing over here. As the fear meters were off the charts, doing what we do and doing it well, making sure that we have that calmness, that awareness of what to expect next. Well, we don't have to have a pullback testing that broken trend line. We take the breakouts when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto in the bull market phase, which we are in. The breakout is the better entry over here. Do not be surprised for a retest. Do I still think that we're going to test down towards the resistance of 51,000? That's looking less likely now that we've broken out above this resistance. Prior to breaking out above this resistance, when this picture was shared with you, at that point it made a lot of sense. We could come back down and test this resistance over there, confirm that into support somewhere around 51,000. Doesn't look like that's going to happen now. Now it looks like that if we come down and test, it's somewhere around 53,000. That looks like that's realistic. That's in the picture. But nevertheless, we are seeing Bitcoin over here of sharp V-shaped recovery. Now it's time for us to look to the upside. The risk is now becoming to the upside. This is Will's log scale chart. All long-time viewers remember this one as we put this out in the beginning of January over here, looking at long-term price targets. If we zoom in a little bit over here, you can see look at this. Will's support over here, he has this down as light support. It held right over there. That was the low. On the daily time frame, we spiked below it, but never closed below it. And now at this point, we're above the last major resistance. This was resistance, flipped into support, and then it gave way. We're back above it. 55,000, looking good. What are we targeting? Are we targeting the trend line right over here that 3 times in the past 2 months we've come in and it's held? Probably not now on the way up, right? This is when we make the new all-time high. We're looking for that a rip your face off move. Where does that rip your face off move take us? By the way, if you're watching this on the replay, I feel like you're here live with us. And since you're on the replay and you're hearing this, go ahead and smash that like button. Please share the love and support the channel over here. Are we going to break this resistance this time, targeting 81,000, more or less, right? The $80,000 area. Is this the place that you potentially look to take some off? Or is the risk to the upside? And is this move going to be actually, are we going to take out the resistance? We'll be watching the price action while we're up there. Is it possible that we break out and then are targeting above $100,000 on this impulse over here? I mean, that's where the risk is. That's not the base case. That's definitely where the risk is. Looking at, this is on Twitter, LV Renan, talking about, look on the daily charts over here. You could see that each time we put in a low, here are the 3 previous pullbacks. Here's the most recent one. The daily time frame had this massive bull candle. You could see it occurring each and every time. Probably a good chance we've put the bottom in. And you can, I like this over here. You see this trend line of the bull flag that was acting as resistance until it was broken. This is in late March. Breakout, retest, resumption up. And then again, this trend line over here, the failure. That sets off the corrective phase over here. But look, this trend line is holding as support. You could see the bullish structure in the market is enormous right now. You know, breaking down below this trend line, wow, all of a sudden that's not looking so strong anymore. Holding over here, you could see the massive bullish nature of the structure of the market that we're looking at. It was this video on January the 10th when this was our first exit plan series video that we did on the channel. This is when we started looking towards the exits, and we pulled up some log charts and we put on some support and resistance levels. You can't do that, Jordan. You can't put out support and resistance levels on a log chart. Listen, we'll do our art however we want to do our art. And this is when Patrick shared his chart with us over here. And if you look at the slope of the angle on Patrick's chart, and if you look at the slope of the angle on Will's chart, they're different. You could see on this thumbnail here how this yellow dotted one is Patrick's slope. It's coming off the peak right over here, that wick into this. And then you could say that was support. And then he used that line as the other area of resistance to draw that prime trend line. And that prime trend line fit in other areas on the chart. He has it all marked up over here. By the way, this is on the Bitcoin 4-year cycle playlist. It's the 3rd video down from the top. And in that description, you could find these charts from Patrick, from Will, from my own. I went ahead then and I said, well, let me go ahead and see what that looks like. My prime trend line resembles Will's, the angle of it, right? The only thing that I did different is I let these trend lines, after I clone them, automatically auto-populate to where the program is putting them. And you could see, and you could look at that and you could say, wow, this is on, let me jump down to the 3-day to give you a closer look. There's that line of resistance Will is showing us so clearly. Let me jump over to it. Here you could see the 3 touches over here. Here you could see very clearly the 3 touches. It's the same line as Will's, very clearly. And then you could see that, you know, we came back down and we've tested this line over here. Where are we targeting? I have that around, I have it around somewhere around 90,000. We'll consult mine. We'll consult Will's as we get close. We want to make sure that we get the top of this next move that's coming up over here. We wanted to make sure that we were positioning in at the bottom, at the very beginning of the parabolic move. That's where we wanted to make sure that we knew where that timing was. That's why we continue to stay laser focused. Now we're looking upwards. Now we're looking upwards and we're looking at where this move may potentially end. You know, not out of the woods yet. We still have futures expiring on Friday. Could we see some pressure between now and Friday and this really start taking off into the weekend, into early next week? Of course. Could it take off? Could it continue now as we're putting in this sharp V and continue quicker than anyone imagined? Of course, we're prepared for everything. It's why we've been following so closely what we do. This was shared over here by Family Randall, Michelle and Ian, right? Such the heart of this group over here. Michelle, the 3 little birds, every training session that we do over here. And I was asking yesterday for some help. Could someone from the Conquering the Markets Please be able to create some charts of showing the work we do each and every day. I can't do that, but I would like to be, we consult the halving tracker, and the halving tracker has kept us on the right side of throughout all of this over here. Let me pull up actually the halving tracker as we talk about it. The halving tracker putting in right now, you could see the V beginning. The V beginning. This is something that we foresaw coming into it 3 days ago. 3 days ago, as price was coming down into 49,000, the fear meter off the charts. We put out the video. It's going to be a sharp V shape, very sharp. I think that people now see, oh, wait a second, that's pretty sharp. That's very sharp. That's a V. What's going on over there at Conquering the Markets that they spend each and every day talking about and focused in on Bitcoin? Are they missing everything else going on, right? We have a beautiful comment over here from Nick. Sometimes I wonder why you spend basically all of your time talking about Bitcoin, basically ignoring everything else. Now I know where everything else is going, what's going on across all markets at all times. And then we should that new entry on silver, we were right there, right on time. Then I remember laser focus on the only investment that matters is essential. Cheers, Jordan. Now I see why you're doing that. Now I see over here as everyone, the fear meter off the wall. People don't know what's happening next. While you're saying this is the beginning of the parabolic move, this is the time to make sure you get it right. Everyone focus on what matters the most and make sure you walk away from the bull of all bulls, achieving everything that you need to achieve. And we have our eyes on other dates, right? By the way, $100,000 in June. If you remember, late September, January 27th, we were looking ahead, finding out where we would be, and then putting out something that we believe can be achieved, as always, so that it is not, when it's out there in the public domain, you want to look good, you always underestimate a little bit, right? So, Jordan, quick segue over to here. Jordan, are you expecting an emotional roller coaster between now and September and October? No, we're not at all. Where was there it is, the bull of all bulls. I'm trying to pull up Family Randall's chart over here. The bull of all. No, not at all. I know exactly. This is the beginning of the parabolic move. By the way, this is a massive move you're looking at between now and in the summer and into July and into August. This is a massive parabolic move. This is the blow off top. This is crazy. Do I think it's going to be a roller coaster between here and here? No, we have two different spots between now and the last move up that we're focused in on. We're going to talk about them and focusing them closely this week on the training session. But the clarity that we have is absolutely extraordinary. Extraordinary means like very special. This is not an emotional roller coaster. This is like complete clarity, position of control, making sure that we're watching each and every wave of what we should be focused in on to make sure we continue to get this right. And we are. And also we have over here the GDK 99, answering the call, getting out the Conquering the Markets chart so we could focus as, making sure that we continue to get this right. There's a couple of points on this chart, right? Whether it's the July 21st, the March 11th, November 30th. John, we got to get rid of those. Those don't belong there for whatever reason you're looking at it. I love that you have the dates over there, right? That you have, by the way, the 15th of September, the 13th of September, the first cycle. How many days since price made the new all-time high? Really focusing it. This is beautiful, good stuff over here. What is this? I didn't see. This is taking place on TradingView. I like this one as well. Thanks for sharing that. It's essential for making sure that we continue to watch all markers that we have to make sure that we continue to get this wave correctly. You have PlanB doing the same thing. He posted this chart yesterday, and he's like, look, I'm confirming that both the stock to flow X model and on-chain signals indicate we're only halfway into this bull market. You've heard me saying that over the last few weeks. We're halfway, nowhere near the top. And then, PlanB, continuing to keep laser focused on the most important trade that matters. It's what we do together collectively making sure that we're right there. Charts BTC, one of the first, when I first started making the playlist as this channel was launched, end of October 2019, preparing you all. The first videos I was using, all charts BTC, past cycles, laying out the case for you of the 4-year cycle. I know everyone gets it now, I know everyone sees it. And when I say that, when everyone sees it and everyone gets it, what I'm talking about, as we moved over now and we had the root sharing this chart. By the way, on the Conquering the Market live stream, when we shared this chart that someone from CTM brought to my attention, this was a week ago, or less than a week ago, 300 followers. Less than 300 followers. Now look at that, 11,000 followers, people liking this chart. We were focused here from the beginning, right? The dip, which JCL Capital always spoke about. And now everyone is catching up. That's great to see so many people in the space working together. What does Michael Saylor call it? Like the Hornets? Everyone working together, making sure that we stay laser focused to stay on top of this over here. There are a lot of people watching this. The reason that we prepare for the exit each and every day. By the way, when we first started, one of the first signal markets we used, when everyone was talking about lengthening cycles and people talking about December as being the place to exit because the previous past 2 cycles happened to end in December. Right over here, one of the earliest out there, we were like, listen, we're focused towards the end of September. If you take the low of the previous cycle to the halving and count those many days, then less 2% into the bull market phase, that's where it peaked. And it happened in the previous cycles. We're using that as a guide for where it's going to happen this cycle as well, right? Then we started narrowing that down over here, right? We come back now and we're looking at the charts being shared and we're using the all-time high as the place where we start counting how many days. We know how many days it was in the first cycle and in the second cycle. That's giving us now perhaps somewhere in the middle of September, a week earlier. Greg, you might have to change the countdown of the charts. But again, we're watching price. We're preparing ourselves mentally because the FOMO is going to be absolutely extraordinary. And it was Mike Tyson who says everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? What we're doing here is making sure that you continue to visualize where we are each and every day during this bull market phase, riding the bull of all bulls. So when it's time to exit, you're going to have the capacity to do so ahead of time. Does it look like it's the middle of September we're looking at right now? We don't have it on the family Randall chart, the bull of all bulls. We have how many days, which is what exactly is the correct signal, right? How many days from the first break of the previous all-time high is doing it correctly. The cheat sheet over here would be September 13th, September 15th. We got this right though over here, and we're looking now and waiting for the current recovery, right? Again, once we made that first repair, for me, my eyes were like, okay, what happens next is the new all-time high. Whether or not that takes us approximately 3 or 4 days as it did in 2017, where we barely tagged the new high, and then it took 20 days for that new. I don't know how long it's going to take us. That's not really important. That's the next level. By the way, it's sharp and it's a V shape, right? It's a sharp V, very sharp. Look, as price was falling down, just making sure we stood with clarity on the most important trade that matters. So the halving tracker has been essential. Mission control throughout all of this. I love the fact that we got Conquering the Markets now, going ahead and just sharpening our focus, making sure that we're down there. And then we're going to also be spending training sessions focused on that exit from price alone and what that's going to look like, getting everyone ready and where they know that if they were wrong, how you're getting back in, making sure, as Bitcoiners do, you basically gameplay everything down to the final conclusion. Where are we right now? You can see on the 2-hour, again, you see the breakout of the trend line. This is the second and final repair over here. It looks very healthy, looks very good over here. Everyone should be, in my opinion, not financial advice, nor is anything I say, fully positioned, and if not more. You're looking here at this beautiful chart shared by the major. Check this out over here. And again, if you look, this resembles more of Patrick's log scale, I believe, in the angle, right? He's looking at the monthly chart. He's looking at the monthly chart, and he's noticing that this could be the first down monthly chart in the bull market phase. That in the 2017 bull market phase, there was one. It was a big hammer hanging that. It was, it closed red, but towards the top of the candle. Does it look like that's what's going to happen again? Something like it, maybe. But what I'm looking at over here is the upper resistance of this channel he has, where that comes in somewhere. I'm sorry. This is Will's. This is resembling Will's perfectly. A 270,000 price target somewhere in September. All right. Let me just show you that over there. 2,000. Same thing over there. $278,000 September. This is, again, a rough guide. Could we go higher? Could we break out above? We'll all be watching it together as it occurs. Even when you're talking about the stock to flow model PlanBs, 288,000, which there you go. Will lined up with the stock to flow over here. That's pretty amazing. Stock to flow fitting that angle. It's expected to overshoot, and the stock to flow model always does overshoot. So we'll be watching that closely, making sure that not only are we involved to make sure we do and whatever is necessary to make sure we achieve those goals. And we've talked about it so often and in so many different ways. It started. Excuse me. If you haven't seen this podcast over here, it's called Bitcoin OG is a State of Mind. Right? This is on the orange pill. You got to watch this one. It's a good one with Adam Back. Listen, I would play it for you. I would spend the day with you, but I'm just telling you, just watch the whole thing. When you get to 48 minutes, this is where it really gets interested because he's excited. If you're not familiar with who Adam is, great time to learn. Watch the podcast. You'll get the introduction. He's sourced in the Bitcoin white paper. For either which way. He's so excited about this billionaire. I believe it's in Norway. It could be that it's in Norway, who is basically working on this whole renewable mining project for Bitcoin. Follow it. Find out what he's passionate about. They're talking about the implementation of Taproot, how it's happening. If you want to find out like what's being telegraphed to you, what's going on in Bitcoin, this is the video over here. But there's also things going on in the space. There's also things this has me very interested. This is Shapeshift has gone ahead. I forgot the original tweet was from Eric. And Eric was saying that he believes he just sent the first decentralized transaction, trustless, from a hardware wallet. The volume's not there yet, but it's going to be. This is basically a bridge between all layer ones. This is not a layer 2 solution. This is really amazing. Could you imagine in the future being able from a hardware wallet to convert from Bitcoin to a stable coin? Not keeping that money, keeping the keys the whole entire time. This is what's exciting for me about the future of the space. This video over here explains it well. This is on Nugget News. Right? Nugget News out of Australia. It's Thorchain, right? And he talks about the world's first cross-chain liquidity protocol. Exciting stuff happening in the space. That's two things. The introduction of Taproot and then also what's happening on Thor and connecting layer ones between different is absolutely amazing to me. Absolutely amazing to you. I don't know why I have this up here for you, but I want to know. Institutionals will never sell. I think this is talking about what happened with Elon, right? So as everyone know, Dave Portnoy is all upset. He finally bought a Bitcoin at 55,000. Good, Dave. It's cheap. You bought one Bitcoin. Clearly, you don't understand the trade, right? That's like putting 1% of Bitcoin into your portfolio. Of course you don't understand the trade or money. But Elon's like, listen, no, listen, no, you do not. I have not sold any of my Bitcoin. Elon making the qualification over here that he holds Bitcoin personally separate from Tesla, and he's saying he's not sold any of it. Tesla sold 10% of its holdings essentially to prove liquidity of Bitcoin as an alternative to holding cash on the balance sheet. Will Tesla be, now that they've proven liquidity, actually be stepping up their purchases. The next filing, we'll see. Either which way, what did they take in? Was it $100 million, $77 million in profits? Listen, Tesla, all over it. Either way you look at it, bringing in massive income for the company, all over it. Where does that bring us? Does that bring us back to Ethereum, Bitcoin? As we're watching the breakout occur, is that where we all get excited now? Do you think it's time? Look, when it was into the support and it was a confluence of support, we pointed out that we said this is very important. It's a very important area. Your risk is there if you're looking to lean into it. A lot of traders get attracted to assets at big trend lines, but listen, those lines until they break, resistance holds until it breaks. We lean into support in uptrends. We don't look to buy off resistance. We don't flip from our Bitcoin trade to our Ethereum trade at resistance. That's, if you wanted to do that, you do that down here at support when we talked about it. Just very careful about, again, it's all that noise everywhere. It's all that noise everywhere, and it's so distracting, and people are distracting. And it's why I spend my time making sure that I am focused on the most important trade that matters, so I know what's going on. And why we do that, we're able to pick out where there's some pretty important spots taking place, right? Whether it's on Ethereum US dollar, or whether it's on what's happening on silver and that breakout. By the way, back into that resistance, trying to get above it. Again, not interesting to us. We're looking to push this trade, and not only to the new yearly high, not only to the yearly high. Continuing to watch all markets, making sure we stay on the right side of including the equity markets. But none of that is exciting. Was it exciting when we had the pullback, or should I say before the pullback, when we said, hey, listen, we could have a pullback over here, a correction on the equity markets. And if we do, lean into it. And then we talked about the structure, the repair coming out of it, the bull flag after the breakout retest resumption into the bull flag, breaking out. It was only a matter of time before we hit the new all-time highs. But we'll take those lessons as the market gives them. We'll take those lessons as it is Tuesday. We need to go ahead and drop some HeadSnack over here. Let's go ahead and just get ready if you're listening. The beat.
Analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip a matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing, the prices might be slashing, just to pretend they're in fashion. Take the like button, comments, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room, grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Throw from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
It's a taco day. HeadSnack, sharing the love. Sharing the love. By the way, the video that Greg shared, this Cuatro Tacos in the Discord this morning, was the best of the best. I wish we could play that on the live stream. If you haven't watched that one, you got to watch it. Absolutely beautiful. Listen, people are talking right. This is the question I want to highlight. Jordan, do you see yourself selling before the all-time high or when it makes the second top that you talked about? I'm going to come back to this very question from Daniel in 1 second. Before we do, let's start off over here. This is the what Bitcoin did, right? We're the what Bitcoin is going to do next podcast. That's what we do here on Conquering the Markets. Always a step ahead of everyone, making sure that we're prepared. But if you want to, but this is the what Bitcoin did. We got Willy Woo, and let's listen to over here the question presented.
Bull market expected to go up. Selling tops in a bull market seems very, very difficult.
It's pretty wise. I have a rule: I never sell during a bull market. I only buy dips on margin, and then I'll exit when it gets toppy. And
All right, so let's pause right there. So we have two things over there. First of all, listen, selling Bitcoin in a bull market, that's where I draw the line. Listen, I'm just using strategy number 1, 3 ways to trade the Bitcoin bull market, and I'm making sure I'm positioned, holding that Bitcoin unleveraged or lightly leveraged from the beginning to the end, and it's probably the most effective for most people. Right? By the way, this is on the Bitcoin 4-year cycle. By the way, if you're watching this show here and you're still here and you haven't yet smashed the like button, what are you doing? Smash that like button. Let's get going over here. We got about 846 likes, trying to get up over 1,000. There we go. 3 ways to trade the Bitcoin Ultimate Guide, strategy number 1, right? I'm not selling my Bitcoin. Right. Strategy number 2, Willy Woo is, strategy number 2, I'm going to buy those dips, right? The most effective way to buy those corrections explained as strategy number 2 in 3 ways to trade Bitcoin in this video, October the 31st. Giving everyone ample time, making sure this was as Bitcoin was breaking above what? Like $14,000, $13,000, that you all had the master plan, the game plan. And Willy Woo was like, yeah, I like that one. I could do that one. That's a good one. And I don't take profits on the way up. I'm just at the end when it gets toppy, and I know actually after the Bitcoin market has peaked, Daniel, we're going to come back and talk about that, selling before or after because again, some people say they don't know when the top is going to be. They're not able to tell ahead of time. Now, of course, we do it a lot differently over here, and we're looking to the day of the top. But there are a lot of people out there that they understand the 4-year cycle. They've participated in one form or another, and then they're back testing models, trying to figure out going forward. From the get-go, we already got this. But not only that, much more advanced strategy number 3. It's about taking profits on these moves on the way up, right? And then positioning yourself back in. Yes, it's the most advanced. Yes, it's what we're looking at here together this morning when we're looking at the next resistance levels and talking about as we come in towards that $80,000 level, right? Yeah, it's possible the risk is to the upside. If we break that resistance, then we're going much higher, much quickly. We'll be prepared for all that so that people that again, most advanced, but the best, that are looking to go ahead and exit out are going to be able to do that and position ourselves back in. We have the map. Right? We know that we're looking into this area to be taking profit. We know that we're looking to position back in on the dip. And then we have one more before the great parabolic blow off top occurs. We're going to make sure, and we'll focus together on the training session coming up, making sure that we know the dates that these dips are occurring. As we're watching the price action coming in, we can take the top because we can do that. Yeah, we can do that, right? Because it's who we are and what we do, and we had the plan in place well in advance. Let's take a look. There's something else being said here.
I've actually run a simulation of it, and you kind of
a nonsense. All right. Anyway, I guess it's all nonsense. But what was important over there was the question, right? The question that was asked. Let me just highlight one more time. What do you see yourself selling before the all-time high? Or when price makes the second top? If I could pull up the Wall Street cheat sheet with you, I don't need to do that. I could just go back onto 2017 December and just show you the top and what was occurring over here. We're gonna do what's going on, those perpetuals. Boom, Bitstamp. The old Bitstamp over here. We come back into 2017. Though, by the way, that rocket, we're making sure that we know where the rocket is. We did this, I think, about 7 weeks ago on Conquering the Markets live training session, pointing out this date over here, talking about it was the last movement before the last top that's coming. I mean, we're just so far ahead of everyone. It's ridiculous. And we put rocket ships, going forward of where we're looking. If you're looking at the top occurring over here, right, what I do is I'm selling on the way up, right? I'm selling on the way up over here because I know from a variety of factors and indications of when the top of the bull market phase is, right? Now, we talked about, listen, if you get it wrong, you're still going to have an opportunity. And that opportunity is what Willy Woo speaks about from his backtesting of models, the way that he's looking to get out. Just be very careful. Because there's a 50% correction, between a 40 and 50% correction that occurs very quickly off the all-time high, and then you get a bounce. This is on the Wall Street cheat sheet, by the way, on cycle, our market cycles. You get the all-time high, a quick correction, and then a bounce up. Be very careful if you're taking the bounce up, 40. You don't need to get it exact. You don't have to get the top tick. If you're exiting anywhere near 25% of the top, you're a hero and you're crushing it. And anyone that did not exit and became a hodler in the 2017 bull market peak, would have taken a 16,500 exit on Bitcoin and been the happiest hero all day long. There's no question about that. Is on the way up, use 40, 50%. Do not use 80%, by the way. If you think that you're going to get, that's only 50%. So what Willie Woo says is that there's an 80% jump up. That's not correct. Be very careful about what you're doing, who you're following. Consult many people, consult people who have a history of getting it right, and then form your own opinions and conclusions. You have to be making these decisions for yourself. The only way you can make the decisions if you understand what's going on and ahead of time. Everyone afterwards will put a narrative to it. Everyone what the narrative will be of why the bull market peaked. I'm telling you right now, I don't know. I'm just telling you when it's going to peak. You could fit a narrative to it later. And if someone sounds good, that's great. Look, it's just doing what we do and who we are. We were talking about the exit. Patrick's talking about, I know I take it on the way up and I don't scale out of it either. I know where it is. I feel confident about it. I'm exiting the trade. I don't scale out. I don't take it after it's over or anything like that. And you can though. You can make sure you take it 50% on the bounce up though. We'll be talking a lot, through this every day. It's not 97 more episodes and we stop. This is conquering the markets. Our time preference is so low, it's ridiculous. We're going to be here decades right from now. There's no question about it, and we're going to continue doing what we do. Listen, you still have time to get out of this trade. Even I guess it's too late. What happens next and what unfolds next in this area, by the way, is within 6 weeks we look at a 70% drawdown from the all-time high. That's how you know that right away we could quash all those arguments about, is this bear market going to, be like the rest of the bear markets, or because the institutions are here, is it different? No, we're going to pull back 80-85% from the all-time high, set it from the very beginning. Now on this bull market, the volatility to the downside has been different. We've only seen 30% corrections and multiple 20 and 15% corrections, but in the last 2017 bull run, we were seeing corrections that were 40%, 35%, 30% regularly. The volatility, though, is to the upside here. We're outperforming the last bull market. This was, by the way, this is a 24x and a 39x. A 39x and a 24x over here. No, that's not correct. This is a 19x and a 39x. We're looking somewhere in between. Where does that put us? Somewhere around 27x. Ian, I got to get your chart up here, spelling it out over here so that everyone can see it clearly. Look, 25x, is that what we're looking at? Either way, we're outperforming. The volatility is less to the downside, but it's more to the upside so far than last cycle. Where that brings us and why, I don't know. Why, I don't know. Thank you, Tyler. It's been a fun episode over here. I feel like we're so light on the likes, but that's okay. Only smash that like button if you like what's being shared over here. There's 1,800 people in here. 1,800 people who are dedicating their time to making sure that they see this with the clarity needed to achieve and it's not too late. It's still early. Bitcoin at $55,000 is cheap. There is so much time left in this current cycle that if you've been doing it wrong up to this point, or you've been distracted, or you haven't achieved the things and you're not on pace to achieve the things that you set out to achieve, you got to take pause right now and you have to commit. And it starts with being here each and every day and making sure that you have that focus, that understand that's required to do what needs to be done. So, where are we looking at? Thank you, Joseph. Thank you. A very important session today. Very important session, 45 minutes, 40 minutes of talk time. We've covered everything that we need to cover to make sure that we continue, right? Everyone feeling the clarity, the confidence, and just continue. Be careful what you hear out there. You got to be, it's like the news. You got to be aware, if you want to be, you have to be aware, but you have to learn to read between the lines. To get the truth, it's found somewhere between the lines. You have to listen to how someone speaks and presents themselves, and then decide whether that person has actually any real world experience. What they've done in the past, what they have achieved. It's very important, because everyone out there. And by the way, I love how Adam went to Stacy, and I can't even think of his name. Was the host over here? Max Kaiser. I love how he went to ones who have been there from the very beginning, talking about what was taking place on Bitcoin, right? From the very beginning of the earliest of the revolutions. I love how Adam goes there to talk about what is going on with Bitcoin, how Taproot is being released, the benefits of it, why. Beautiful stuff over there. Beautiful stuff. And it comes back over here. Anyway, you should watch this video. I love the quote over here. OG is a state of mind. It's not about the oldest coin or the date you first bought it. It's more of the cyberpunk attitude. Getting why we Bitcoin. It becomes a way of life, a mission. This is the focus of why we do what we do. Don't ever forget it. Just because we're trying to accumulate the most possible Bitcoin that's possible, it's all for these reasons. And it's not because it's not like in fiat terms. Right? Well, right now we are within a fiat system, and our understanding, by the way, of that fiat system seems to be pretty clear. On Signal continues to be on point, understanding that it's a central bank run system, that they are full in control. We are following most closely the greatest risk to Bitcoin, and it's not the government. It's not did you see that tweet? By the way, where I was talking about how everyone that makes the case against Bitcoin, it always comes down to that it's going to get too big, that it's a threat to the government, and the government's going to come against it. Every single person that does not believe in Bitcoin believes that it's a threat to the government. Bitcoin is $1 trillion market cap. This is when it had a $200 billion market cap. They were able to see that it was a threat to government, and therefore government's going to come against it. How do you not participate in that trade if you see that, by the way? If you see that, how do you not participate? I don't understand it, By the which way, our mission, which I hope touches as many lives as possible. I hope when I see the influence that conquering the markets has across the internet in the investing space now, it's absolutely beautiful. Where I see the chart work, I could see someone's chart work and then what they describe going on, their understanding of the market, and I know that it's CTM. And it's absolutely, I started tagging things CTM so we could all follow it together on Twitter, But again, changing lives and that ripple effect that we're going to have, it's Bitcoin centered. The mission here, the goal here is to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible. And if that means exiting at the top of the cycle, positioning into other assets to profit during that 12-month period before accumulating back into Bitcoin, it's not because we want to accumulate more fiat, which we do, but it's because at the end of the day, we're looking to accumulate the most Bitcoin that's possible. Change your time preference, by the way. Get a really low time preference. We're able to follow this thing, breaking down the 4-year cycle into 3 phases. The Bitcoin bull market, which has multiple phases as well, coming into the halving, and then when the halving is not priced in. Adam in this video talks about why the halving is not priced in. You're listening to someone, there's a bunch of, listen, it doesn't matter who Satoshi is. Like, if that person wishes to remain as anonymous as possible, then I just feel like as a Bitcoiner, you should respect that. It's not about trying to uncover. We're all Satoshi, and that's the truth. But if you want to listen to someone, who either which way was referenced in Satoshi's white paper, listen and watch this video. Really good stuff over there. I wish I could break it down for you as I watch it, you know? Where are we? Wondering about Ethereum? Look, you know, again, if you want to know where Ethereum's going to peak, I laid out that work for you a long time ago. It's on the Bitcoin playlist. Or if you want to know where any altcoin is going to peak, you could follow the work I did. I made sure everyone knew well in advance when alt season. There was a lot of people out there, you know, even on Twitter when Max Kaiser was like, you know, Bitcoin's eating everything. The dominance is increasing. There's going to be no alt season. And I'm like, not so fast. Absolutely, there's going to be alt season. Actually, it's going to start roughly 6 months after the Bitcoin halving, making sure everyone was positioned in, showing you the Bitwise charts, you know, back in November, saying, look, this is when alts are really going to take off ahead of time, right? But if you know, listen, I'm the type of person when they understand their trade, you know, they focus and you know, I don't need to diversify my trade. Yeah. Well, the last thing I'm going to do is exit my trade and flip-flop into something else. You know, there's no way that I'm going to do that. But again, I have, back before we were trading, you know, above 9,000, I had half of my net worth, including owned real estate, into the Bitcoin trade, right? Concentrated, and that has greatly increased as we've got fully positioned and more, you know, and look, it doesn't make sense. Nothing else makes more sense than Bitcoin. In my opinion, I've laid out that case for you so well. Not only just, it's not like, oh, Bitcoin, like I've talked about what's going to outperform, when it's going to outperform, how to be involved if you want to be in that. But why trading Bitcoin lightly leveraged, there's nothing more powerful. So either you're on board or you're not, but you know, and you don't need to be. There are a lot of like core CTM, right? Whether you're talking Brandon, Alan, Heath, and they're you know, playing the altcoin and the alt season and the alt markets, and I support that so much. But there's no way that I could there's no way that I could have done what I do without being laser focused on Bitcoin, and I don't have the capacity to do that across every single market, or nor do I don't know, you know, that's really difficult. You know, there are certain events that take place, you know, again, on the Conquering the Market training sessions, you'll see on the Conquering Market recommended playlist when we're talking about the massive moves that alts put in the last 3 weeks of alt season. The massive, and why it just makes more sense focusing on that one trade than it does playing alts throughout alt season. You know, so you got to be more, if you learn to be more precise, you know, with a lot more patience, you're just way more effective. And that's what I do. That's what I do. So listen, you got to go back and watch the videos. We did the work as they unfolded, you know, but alt season started back in November, December. That's when alt season started, right? We were lining that up. There are videos, if you go back on the channel, they're titled like alt season's beginning, right? Like before anyone else is looking at it. You know, just as we were watching the pullback onto Bitcoin, or aware of the possibility because of watching the halving tracker and knowing what was taking place on chain in the past market cycles, we knew that we could have a possible shakeout in this area. Now, as we started making the new all-time high over here, you know, the chances of that decreased. That was on Thursday. And then on Friday, when we broke the trend line, all of a sudden it was 62,500 exit. Make sure by 58,500, any way you look at it, that you're out. You're wrong if you're still fully positioned then. And we had the shakeout. We've had the shakeout now. And again, as that shakeout's happening, we're like, it's going to be a sharp recovery, and we're looking at a V. And so far, that's on cue. That's happening over here as price is resuming off of that low. We've looked at why it looks like a low. And there we are. 1,200 likes. We did it. Right? Yeah. Noah, that's a good thing too. And let me jump over to Twitter for 1 second to show you. Again, thanks for sharing that chart, John. Really grateful for that. Retweeted that. I guess I got to come down to over here where I can see tweets and replies. Or maybe likes. We're looking at, let me right over here on likes. We're looking at Pancake, right? Right? Here we go. I do not hodl much cake, but it looks pretty bullish to me. A break, a retest, and a resume. Let's check it out. I didn't really look at the chart. You could see this beautiful chart work. into the resistance, by the way. And then he's looking, and this, I'm so glad this came up. This is crazy about blockchain, sharing the love over here. I had liked this original tweet over there. Not crazy about blockchain, but the CTM all day long. Now I'm focusing on this, and here's why I want to bring it to your attention, because this is the risk to the upside that we could possibly potentially be looking at. Price comes into the upper channel resistance. It's a good place to take some off the table. Always into that resistance. You could, by the way, if the resistance breaks and it's flipped, get back into the trade. That's something that if you're watching each and every day, you know from the work that I show you in the currency markets, right? This is why it requires your time and attention each and every day. I mean, you could be binge watching Netflix. I don't know if you're learning anything. You could listen to some people speculating about what they think is gonna, happen, from stimulations and from just like whatever. And there's like, yeah, better than most other information. But, are you getting it? Listen, this is what you gotta worry about. We come into this resistance here at $80,000 and that it breaks out to the upside. This is what we first spoke about this morning, and that we move up a resistance level, over $100,000. That would catch a lot of people on the wrong side of the trade. There's no question about it. When you're looking at this chart over here on Cake, and you see the breakout above the resistance, you get that, and that move into that next resistance or retest, resuming out. This is conquering the markets all day long, and you can do this on altcoins. There's no problem. But if you think that you are going to be able to make more money trading leveraged altcoins than you would trading Bitcoin lightly leveraged, that's debatable. I don't believe anyone on a relative basis walks away from this bull market doing as well as I've done. And, I don't think so. But maybe it's possible. But if that's what you're attracted to, just make sure you're disciplined. Make sure that you're following the conquering the market strategy and principles. Otherwise you're going to get wrecked and left behind. But again, experts only, and you have to decide what's the best trade for you. Bringing it back to the very beginning of this video over here, what's best for you, might be strategy number one. Because you'll walk away from the bull market doing incredibly well. Not strategy one, we've always talked about from the beginning why lightly leveraged is the most important and best out there. But that's lightly leveraged. That doesn't mean that you're using obscene amount of leverage. That means lightly leveraged. Anyway, we talk about that in the training session. Or you could be talking about willy will and like, no, I buy the dips on the pullbacks. But if you want to know when to buy those dips, using the scaling in that we use, 15, 20%, 25, 30% on the pullback is way more effective than anything else there is out there. Thanks, Giles. Thank you, everyone, for being here each and every day. There is no way I could do this without each and every one of you. So important to the beyond community, to this family, to what we share each and every day together. It's so special. I'm so grateful for it. What we share here is thank you to the moderators, continuing to make sure that we're able to stay focused on the most important trade that matters. Let's go out with some honeymoon vocals over here. Thank you, Hank. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, Gino, whether or not, a CTM meetup, listen, right now we're focused on making sure we get out at the exit, that we do it right. After that, everyone's positioned into the bear market, then that becomes the conversation. We'll do it inside the Discord. Brad, such an important piece of building this community. Just offering, hey, listen, let's build a website so that everyone has a really good environment to be working in. Thank you, Brad. Ian, thank you. Big shout out to you, Ian. Thank you so much. Trying to bring up the Bull of All Bulls chart over here. Grateful for your work, Ian. Man, sticking with me. Yeah, so beautiful, and so happy celebrating that. Yep, absolutely, Carl. I'm ready for it. You know, yesterday and today's session, setting up for that training session. I'm ready for it. Whether it be later today or tomorrow or Thursday, or I don't know, but I'll get that out to everyone by email and in the Discord. That's a big statement. That's just a big statement. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just love reading these comments so much. Each one is so important to me. Like the whole experience is because of everything that you all add to it. This is why the experience is so special. So everyone, have a beautiful day. You know, what's the price of Bitcoin, by the way? You know, Bitcoin trading at $54,750 has making the breakout, the last repair of the trend line. We're still waiting and looking to see what that retest looks like, whether or not it's a retest into the trend line itself, you know, whether that line holds or not, or whether or not we wind up coming up higher, maybe towards $57,000 before having that first down bar. When the first down bar occurs in the daily, we'll be watching for it. The resumption out of that, when I say that, let me just show you what I'm talking about. This one's different. This one's different. We'll talk about it next. We'll talk about these two first. You have the up bar that everyone just seen, the up bar. And then when you get that first down bar, right? Here's price making the first higher high. Out of that bar is like the safest entry. You want to make sure you're fully positioned by the time that occurs. You see it happen over here. Here's that lower high. And then out of it, you know, over here, it was actually two of them. You never took out the low. It was a little more difficult though. So when it you know, the second one off of the retest, this is the pullback and then the safe entry. You know, it's going to occur whether or not it's a clean retest, you know, or it occurs higher off a daily and then a lower highs and then out like that. We'll wait and watch. That's what we'll be waiting for next. Everyone, thanks for spending the time. Had a beautiful day. May God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon.